Minister, can you hear me? Thank you. Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development, Honorable Professor Amon Mrwira, who is today represented here by the Deputy Minister, Honorable Remo Machinkura, the Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water, Climate and Rural Resettlement, Honorable Dr. Anxious Jongwe Masuka, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security in South Sudan, Honorable Josephine Joseph Langu, the Minister of Higher Education in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Honorable Mohindo Nzanzi Butondo, other ministers here present, permanent secretaries here present, the Ruforum Board Chair and Vice Chancellor of the University of Bamenda in Cameroon, Professor Teresia Ngo Akenji, the Ruforum Deputy Board Chair and Rector for the University of Abomey Calavi in Benin, Professor Avlesi Felicion, the Ruforum Executive Secretary, Professor Adpalak Ekwamu, other Ruforum Secretariat members that are here present, Vice Chancellors, heads of institutions, government officials here present, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you all. On behalf of Zimbabwe's 8 Ruforum member universities and the 18th Ruforum AGM's local organizing committee, headed by Professor Mtisi and Dr. Nyacha, please allow me to start by extending our very warm greetings and warm welcome to you all. We feel very honored and very humbled to be the co-host 18th Ruforum Annual General Assembly meeting. Ruforum's vision of vibrant, transformative universities to catalyze sustainable, inclusive agricultural development to feed and create prosperity in Africa with our country's agricultural and rural development agenda. We want to congratulate leadership of Ruforum for a very well organized and successful AGM. Ladies and gentlemen, a significant portion of Zimbabwe is unsuitable for crop production, mainly due to poor soils and low rainfall patterns. This was the basis for the land reform program that was carried out by ourselves between the year 2000 and 2001, and saw the equitable redistribution of fertile lands to previously marginalized citizens. The land reform program has started to bear fruit, with records having already been broken in the production of wheat, soybeans, sugarcane, and tobacco. However, some newly resettled farmers still face challenges associated with reliance on rain-fed agriculture, low productivity per hectare, and lack of business acumen to run farms as businesses. Against this background, the government of Zimbabwe has placed a statutory requirement on universities to revamp their education curricula so that they provide services and new technologies to this group of new farmers, as well as produce graduates with entrepreneurial competencies and skills, and entrepreneurial behaviors and attitudes. The new breed of graduates is expected to be able to start their own enterprises and create jobs for their peers who were not fortunate enough to be admitted into the country's universities and colleges. The new education philosophy has been themed Education 5.0, and we have preached about it for the duration of your stay in Zimbabwe. And there's a primary focus on the production of goods and services that are necessary for the well-being of our citizens and the industrialization of our economy. In essence, Education 5.0 in and entrepreneurship education be cross-cutting across all the university and college curricula. The government of Zimbabwe has demonstrated commitment to Education 5.0 by funding the setting up of innovation hubs and industrial parks, including agro-innovation and industrial parks at all state universities. These innovation hubs and industrial parks serve as the hotspots for the incubation of startups and the production of goods and services by our higher education institutions. The innovation hubs and industrial parks also serve as the must-go-to centers for the practical training of entrepreneurs from the university and the surrounding communities. Our universities are also playing a pivotal role in the sustainable conservation and management of wildlife and forest resources. Through our research efforts, universities in Zimbabwe are at the forefront of bridging the knowledge gaps on wildlife and forest ecosystems on one hand, and climate change on the other, and also play a leading role in promoting improved understanding amongst the citizens of the role played by wildlife and forests in supporting livelihoods through tourism, timber, and other non-timber products. Education 5.0, as you can see, resonates very well with Ruforum's theory of change, which clarifies what change Ruforum hopes to achieve in the agricultural sector and how this change can be accomplished. In summary, Ruforum, through its member universities, hopes to make a difference in the agricultural sector via 4 pathways. The first one being mainstreaming innovative teaching and learning approaches and curricula that foster cross-cultural sectoral linkages across agricultural and education value chains. The second one being producing proactive and skilled graduates who drive and influence development processes at continental and global level. The third pathway being producing contemporary and relevant innovations, products and services that meet Africa's agricultural development needs and enhance national and global competitiveness. And lastly, but not least, the other pathway, the fourth pathway being institutionalizing, enabling policies, principles, and practices that catalyze inclusivity, diversity, and adaptability to Africa's development needs. We hope and sincerely hope that through the Ruforum platform, universities in Zimbabwe will be able to share their experiences of working closely with smallholder farmers to enhance their livelihoods and productivity through the provision of new technologies, innovations, climate change adaptation strategies, and the provision of new animal breeds, new crop cultivars, new crop varieties that are tolerant to climate-related stresses. Once again, you're most welcome to the 18th Annual General Assembly meeting. After the AGM, please feel free to explore our world-class tourist facilities and attractions that include the majestic Victoria Falls, world-class wildlife conservancies, World Heritage Sites, and unparalleled national parks. I wish you very fruitful deliberations. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Kiepa, for your kind words of welcome. We appreciate you. All ministers, deputy ministers, and dignitaries present, permanent secretaries, my fellow vice chancellors and Ruforum board members, development partners, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to this 18th Ruforum annual business meeting of the Ruforum Network. In the Ruforum governance structure, the annual general meeting, like the one we are holding today, is the supreme policy decision organ of the Ruforum Network. It is constituted by representatives of the member universities and members of the various board committees. It meets usually once annually. Other stakeholders are invited to attend and contribute to the deliberations. The main function of the business meeting is to receive and review progress over the past year, agree on the work plan for the following financial year, and receive and consider the external auditor's report. I therefore welcome you in your various capacities to this meeting. We look forward to your active participation in the discussions. We are honored to have been joined by various partners at this meeting. We greatly appreciate their participation and look forward to hearing from them during this meeting. This is the opening session. After the health break, we will get into the actual business meeting where we will receive the annual report from the Ruforum Secretariat, including the financial report and budget proposal for 2022-2023 financial year. We'll also receive and consider the external audit report. We will discuss also the venues for our next annual convenings for 2023 to 2030. At this juncture, let me invite you to the closing session of this year's annual general meeting, which will take place in the same venue, starting at 3 p.m. this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, I once more thank you for attending this event, which is being held both physically and virtually. Thank you for your attention. I now invite the president. Professor.
Good morning. Thank you very much for inviting me. On behalf of the African Crop Science Society, we would like to thank Ruforum for the ever support to the society and the continuing that has been help us to grow and develop our society. As I said in the opening of this conference, we believe the society has a very important role to play in the development, in particular of all scientists in agriculture, is an important platform to develop the professional capacity of all scientists. It's also a platform for communicating, for sharing of results, for communicating not just among the scientific community, but also with other stakeholders, with communities, with farmers, with the private sector, with policymakers. So we are looking forward to the continuation of the growth of the society, to the continuation of the support of the Ruforum. And we hope that through that support and with this partnership, we will continue to grow and have a bigger impact on the development of agriculture and of the growth of the young scientists and all the scientists community in Africa. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Honorable Ministers, Permanent Secretaries, the Ruforum Advisory Board, Vice Chancellors, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Deans, distinguished representatives, partners, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm honored to make this solidarity statement at this Ruforum business meeting. I want to sincerely thank the government and people of Zimbabwe for being an extraordinary host. We are grateful for this kind of very simple, but very, very well communicated approaches to how we can actually organize ourselves as Africans. Let me start by thanking the Executive Secretary, Professor Edipala Ekwamu, and the entire Ruforum team for their courage and temerity to dream very, very big. By way of introduction, AgriNatura is the European Alliance on Agricultural Knowledge for Development, which is a network of 36 European life science universities and research centers, supporting agricultural research and development by establishing research projects and consortia, leading science policy dialogue, and providing an evidence-based knowledge platform and capacity building with a common interest in supporting agricultural development in a sustainable manner to improving people's lives. In AgriNatura, we seek to nurture scientific excellence through joint research, educational and training programs and projects that contribute to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, thereby making AgriNatura the major institutional voice in Europe. We have met and discussed and address issues that bound us all together and suggest solutions. I hope that the decisions made at the 18th Ruforum AGM meeting 2022 will not stay merely on papers, that responsibility prevail in responding practically to processing agricultural education for Africa development. We must collectively respond to the imperatives of making agriculture work for Africa to secure a future for African youth. It is no longer enough to make commitments and recommendations for implementing policies and investment in agricultural education and research. African government must finance, guarantee, and request for innovative results from our universities, which stands to prepare the continent to the next level. Therefore, Ruforum must continue to lead the process that will decisively deliver the change we collectively seek through agricultural education, which will enable us Africans to use the product of the earth we have in abundance because they are the fruit of the daily work of our people, families, and farming communities. The primacy of Africa agriculture development, both now and in the future, is not subject to negotiation. If all members of Ruforum work with one another, the consensus for agricultural education deliberated and agreed upon at this forum are fairly implemented, we will not be long in arriving. So, AgriNatura will continue to stand and work with Ruforum and its members, initiative crucial for promoting attitude change that is necessary for the well-being of our future generation and agricultural development on the continent of Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, our Deputy Minister in the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science, Innovation, and Technology Development, our Chairperson of the Ruforum Board, and Vice Chancellor of the University of Bamenda, Cameroon, Professor Teresa Nku Akinji, Excellencies, Honorable Ministers from various countries present, our distinguished Executive Secretary, Professor Adipala Ikumu, Vice Chancellors, Rectors, Principals and Presidents, Deans and of faculties and colleges, members of the Ruforum International Advisory Panel, scientists, researchers, graduate and professional students, our partners, guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a privilege and honor for me and the University of Liberia delegation to express appreciation and gratitude to our chairperson of the board, members of the board and executive committee, the Ruforum Secretariat, all of you Vice Chancellor and the delegations, the honorable ministers, scientists, researchers, and partners, guest participants, for your presence and active participation in the 18th Annual General Meeting opening section here at the Harare International Conference Center in the beautiful city of Harare, the Republic of Zimbabwe. Thank you so much for your resources, your contribution that made it possible for our presence and deliberations to be successful and rewarding here today. To the Vice Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe and other members of the university, people of the Republic of Zimbabwe, please accept our gratitude and congratulations for a job well done for hosting us this year in your beautiful city of Harare. Now, for a moment of privilege, members of the Annual General Assembly, please allow me to invite my colleague, the Vice President for Academic Affairs at the University of Liberia, so that we can do a special recognition to one of our own, our outgoing Executive Secretary, the Professor par excellence, yes, serving the people of Africa for many, many years. Professor Zina, please join me and let the people of Liberia and the University of Liberia family give a small gift to this wonderful professor for all he has done to ensure
that the University of Liberia joined this family of the Regional University Forum for Capacity Building in Agriculture and the STEMS program. Professor Adebalu, thank you for a job well done, especially so for the recognition and work you have done for Liberia in providing so many professors through the program that we are part of the Graduate Teaching Assistant Program.
Professor, on behalf of the government and people of Liberia, it's a small symbolic gift in appreciation for the job you've done for us. We don't appreciate sometimes education, like the first speaker said, is what unlocks everything. I was listening to the president, said Malawi. When you educate somebody, you give them the power to fly. Thank you so much. You are cherished in Liberia. You don't know what you've done for this continent. For us as a university, our science, agriculture, engineering have been impacted by the work of Ruforum. Everybody in Ruforum, but especially you who have dedicated your life changing the capacity of Africans. So on behalf of the president of the University of Liberia, Dr. Nelson, the entire university family, and of course the government of Liberia, I was looking for Professor Weeks, our immediate past president of the University of Liberia. She would have done this on our behalf. She's a member of the international advisors for the forum, but I'm doing it on her behalf as well as the president of the University of Liberia. She initiated this in 2017. So thank you so much, Professor. And we are looking forward to honoring you sometime later on in 2023 at our convocation exercises. So symbolically, please wear this. And I also want to pin you with the emblem of the University of Liberia. You are now officially, we'll do that officially, but you are alumnus of the University of Liberia.
Madam Chair Lady, thank you so much. God bless all of you and have a wonderful deliberation.
Be appropriately empowered.
The major challenges facing the African continent: food and nutrition insecurity.
It's always been a narrative about poverty, a narrative of hunger, a It makes no sense to me because in Africa, you throw up anything before it hits the ground, it grows. And Africa should not be growing poverty. Africa should be growing wealth.
Ça, c'est donc l'outil lui-même. Mais il faut la main qui utilise. Que la main soit la plus performante, c'est-à-dire qu'elle soit bien formée.
You really cannot grow agriculture unless you have first-rate minds.
That every government policy or program that had made any nation better was conceived and designed by technocrats, shaped by higher education. I did not foresee how seamlessly Ruforum's promotion of higher education would fit in with Malawi's 2063 choice of human capital development as an enabler for turning Malawi into an inclusively wealthy middle-income country.
We're here at Kamuzu Palace in Lilongwe, where His Excellency the President, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, was installed as the champion for higher education by the Regional Universities Forum for Capacity Building in Agriculture, Ruforum.
In accepting this honor, I'm filled with a sense of humility and an awareness of the tremendous responsibility this is. In accepting this honor, I am mindful of the thousands of talented young people from across Africa whose dream is to cross the bridge of higher education that connects talent to opportunity. In accepting this honor, I'm aware of the impact that Ruforum's promotion of higher education has already had across Africa, and the responsibility that I will have as a champion to see that impact deepened. Honorable ministers, vice chancellors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for this honor. And my first act as champion is to endorse the Ruforum Charter and request Ruforum to admit into its membership the new public universities that have resulted from the delinking of the University of Malawi, as well as private universities like Koma University, which is leading the way. I thank you all for your attention.
Once every 2 years, Ruforum organizes the Impressa Competition Awards. 7 remarkable recipients were celebrated for significant contributions to Africa's development. The awards were presented by the Cabinet Secretary of Education, Lady and Minister of Education and Sports for Uganda, Honorable Janet Kataha Museveni. F. Christopherson, finishing his second and final term with Ruforum's International Advisory Panel, was recognized for spearheading global rural development efforts, especially agricultural and environmental programs in Africa.
I was very surprised with Ruforum. Was the animal tech, and I feel
Dr. Franny Lutamati of the African Risk Capacity Development and in leadership in promoting higher education reforms and health in Africa. Dr. Luisa Santos was recognized for her outstanding research in the area of integrated pest management of cotton pests, lethal yellowing coconut disease and cabbage diamondback moth, and human capital development in Lusophone-speaking countries of Africa. Dr. Habiba Hassan Wassef was recognized for her exemplary contribution to strengthening programs for cholera, malaria, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS, and coordination of services for refugees in Africa.
My relationship with Ruforum is very important because I believe in evidence-based policy and strategies for solving any developmental problem.
Professor Francis Gichaga, former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, was recognized for pioneering the microeconomic model for financing university education in Kenyan policy formulation, innovation and research for sustainable development in Africa. The final award went to His Excellency Dr. Marshall Ikunga, the former African Union Commissioner for Human Resources, Science and Technology, recognized by Ruforum for his exemplary role in promoting regional integration and championing education, science and technology and innovation development in Africa.
L'Afrique que nous voulons, c'est un raccourci de la vision africaine, qui dit tout simplement que nous voulons une Afrique qui soit libre, dirigé par ses propres enfants et qui compte dans le concert des nations.
I'm Lloyd Chia Jr. And natural resource management. Difficult part of growing up is being raised by like a single parent, my mother. Things were tough for us. She have to do everything to make us come up good. When I heard about the scholarship, I felt like I have already made it because it was my dream. I felt so happy. I even went to church that night. I'm learning new things, new language, seeing new people, getting more experience. My research is on plastic waste. I'm doing a characterization, the management, and the challenge of plastic waste in Gulu. My main focus is to create or make Gulu a sustainable plastic environment. The main Africa I want is a safe Africa that is safe, like Rwanda, a clean cities in Africa, know how to get rid of waste, know how to manage your waste. Because I know you won't want to say it, but check around Africa, waste are everywhere on the street. You see it, it's very detrimental, seriously. That's my goal.
Ce soir, nous avons l'heureux plaisir de lancer officiellement la triennale de notre réseau commun Ruforum.
Today, we meet at a consequential time in Africa's evolution. Across the spectrum of societal leadership, public, business, academia, civil society, we need to recognize crucial and commit ourselves to the cause of excellence in science, technology for sustainable development. We are literally in a race against time.
Africa, where the youth population comprise more than 60%, efforts should be made to prepare them for the challenges and full participation in national and economic.
You are the experts in this field, and we are waiting your recommendations and action plans that will come up with this conference after the COP26 conference.
Bienvenue au Bénin, plein succès à vous. Vive le partenariat au développement. Vive nos universités. Je vous remercie.
In spite of COVID-19 challenges, the first Ruforum Triennial Conference, the 16th Annual General Meeting, and the 7th African Higher Education Week brought policymakers, including ministers and technical experts, higher education leaders in Africa, development partners, private sector leaders, researchers, innovators, students, farmer organizations, among others. Over 1,000 delegates from across the world attended the blended event.
This event builds on various convenings that Ruforum has had, virtually and face-to-face, including the just concluded United Nations Food System Summit. We had a meeting of African heads of states to discuss how African governments can work together with universities to support agricultural transformation.
The Ruforum has demonstrated investments in human capacity development, in training our young people into research, building new platforms for knowledge exchange, both old and young, in different parts of the continent, assisting our governments to formulate policies.
Hello, good morning, every person here. Protocol observed, dear colleagues. Hope that you are all doing well and good. I am Salahuddin Muhammad Al-Arabi, the Vice Chancellor of University of Jazeera in Sudan. It's my honor and pleasure to stand here in front of you all to acknowledge the success that had been made by the Ruforum during the past years. This success, in fact, was a result of hard-working time spent by all of you. And the hard-working time spent by all of you, and I would like to especially acknowledge who is stepping down so that to let Professor Rizala, the Executive Secretary of the Ruforum, who is stepping down to allow another young person to come and active this, to go around and continue the success of the Ruforum. I believe that Professor Adibala did a lot for all of us, and I am very happy that I am now the VC of Jazeera to hand him the honorary doctorate awarded by University of Jazeera to Professor Adibala. This is to acknowledge the effort that Professor Adibala kept to exert for the success of the Ruforum, encouraging growing of the members of this important gathering. I wish him the success that he ever wanted, and I send him my sincere respect and thanks. I also wish the new Executive Secretary of the Ruforum all the success, and I assure that all of the members of the Ruforum will support him to continue the successful story of the Ruforum to achieve its goals and objectives. Lastly, I can say together we can do a lot. Thank you very much.